if you're Jameis Winston, the question needs to be asked, what would have been wrong with you saying, I had consensual relations with the accuser? What would have been wrong with that? The fact that you haven't elaborated on that makes things a bit suspicious. The fact that the local Tallahassee Police Department, somebody in there got involved and essentially gave word to the accuser that it would behoove you not to pursue this any further is bad. But when you take into account that they had the temerity, the gall to say it to their lawyer, you are really emboldened, because that is where I start thinking about Florida State. Now, I understand they haven't been implicated in all of this. I understand that, you know, they're just the university that Jameis Winston plays for. But we are talking about big-time college football here. We are talking about millions upon millions of dollars here. And I think it is safe to surmise that Jameis Winston, with an incident like this hovering over his head, his lawyer wasn't the only one he was communicating with. I think it's safe to say somebody at Florida State, even at least the coach, somebody he was communicating with. So when you take into account that a law enforcement official would feel so bold to tell a lawyer that it would behoove you not to pursue this matter, that says to me this is far bigger than anybody ever imagined. Now, does that mean that guilt gets attached to Jameis Winston? Of course not. That's an irresponsible thing to even intimate. I'm simply saying it does raise an eyebrow as to how far this goes, how deep this goes, and who is involved beyond Jameis Winston. And because I'm in a position where myself, you, or anybody else actually gets to ask that question, this is a very, very bad day for Jameis Winston, because his silence is so conspicuous. And the accuser has elevated in the department of credibility because she, according to Lester Munson and how they broke it down on Mike and Mike this morning, and Schleybar and others with the DNA story, she went and got examined. She got examined by the doctors. They had his DNA, okay, and they talk about it being consistent with injury or whatever the case is. That's what Lester Munson alluded to. When you're talking about turning this into a crime and really going after it, you're looking at the injury, you know, suffered by the woman at hand, the accuser. Well, again, if all of that happened, she did this before he was famous Jameis. That's where this really elevates in credibility. It wasn't like he was famous Jameis and this national iconic, you know, young iconic redshirt freshman out of Florida State. She did this when he might have been the man on campus.
Sure. I mean, this was almost a year ago.
This is almost a year ago. So all of this lends itself towards attaching additional credibility to any claim that she may make because of how it's been handled and the timing of it all and the separation between the incident and now what has come to light. All of this stuff right now, Skip, I don't know what to think. I just know that it does not look good for Jameis Winston. It certainly looks bad for the Tallahassee Police Department, who have had their issues. And dare I say, it at least brings into question what role, if any, Florida State has played in all of this.
Okay. I personally cannot leap to your conclusion that this looks bad for Jameis Winston. This is all I know for sure. From my vantage point, today, Jameis Winston has gone from a person of interest in this story to the person of interest in the story. He's gone to the accused in this story. That's all I know for sure. Now, clearly, as you mentioned, does a positive DNA sample prove that he committed a crime? Obviously, it does not. It doesn't prove anything at all except that he is this person. He is the person in question. And I want to point out that the first time we discussed this on air on this show, we naturally focused in on what we were told was her description of the accused, of this man, in her original complaint as being somewhere between 5'9" and 5'11". And of course, we look up that Jameis is listed by Florida State as 6 feet 4 inches tall. So both of us naturally lean toward a conclusion that, gee, he can't be the person accused here. He's just, how is he involved? We don't know how he's involved. So we speculate a little bit. Was he just a witness to this? Was he just somehow on the scene of this? We did not know. And Stephen A., we leaped to the conclusion that, gee, if he's only marginally involved here in this story, this could be terribly unfair to Jameis Winston and his Heisman chances, right? That's what we discussed that day. Okay, now I know for sure he is the person of interest. That 6'4" or 5'11" or whatever, he's this person. And the accuser is now telling, or her side, her people are telling in a statement to the Tampa Times, that she was warned not to pursue this because she would be raked over the coals. Well, now we have a whole different set of circumstances, but still to say that this is trouble for Jameis, I don't know. I can't speculate, because are you telling me that we know for sure that the district attorney has enough evidence to bring charges, which he says he will decide upon in the next week or two? Do we know that he has enough evidence? I don't know that. I can't even begin to speculate on that. Do we know for sure that Jameis's Heisman chances have been completely ruined? Maybe so. It's very possible that they have. But what if there are no charges? And what if Jameis finally does speak and speaks well for himself? It could change a lot of minds back over to voting for him for the Heisman. So I'm not ready to jump to any conclusions here at all, because I don't know that this looks bad. I guess you could say it looks worse for Jameis, but you're leaning toward he's really in trouble here. I don't know that he's in any trouble here.